Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty specific but really important if you're dealing with large-scale video setups.
So that's right. We're looking at these WolfPack PoE HDMI over IP matrix switchers.
Exactly. Think
Okay.
sports bars, big corporate lobbies, maybe even command centers, places with, tons of screens.
And the challenge is always getting the right video source to the right display, or maybe all the displays, without a massive headache.
Right. So our mission today is figuring out how these particular systems, these 1080p AV over IP ones, manage that for potentially up to 40 TVs. We want to know how they make it efficient, fast, and maybe even add some cool features.
And just as a snapshot, yeah, the headline is 1080p AV over IP,
Yeah.
designed specifically for that kind of scale, up to 40 TVs.
Okay, let's dig in. The core idea seems to be this AV over IP with PoE technology. Explain that a bit. What does PoE, power over Ethernet, really change here?
PoE is a huge deal. Basically means all the devices, the transmitters and receivers, get their power through the same network cable that carries the video signal.
Okay, so no separate power bricks for every single endpoint.
Exactly. That cleans things up massively. And the whole system runs over a standard 1G network switch. You're not locked into, like, expensive proprietary wiring anymore.
So we're talking standard CT6 cable.
Yep, just regular CT6. And with that, they can push the signal about 450 feet, which is pretty good reach. Plus, it makes scaling up or down with inputs and outputs for those 40 PVs much simpler.
That definitely simplifies the physical side. But AV over IP means compression, right? They mention H.264 or H.265. How does that affect performance, speed? Latency is critical.
That's always the question with AV over IP. But they seem to have it dialed in pretty well. They're quoting an 80 millisecond switching and latency time.
80 milliseconds? It's good.
For a 1G system, yeah, that's actually very fast. It's quick enough for most things you'd throw at it: live sports, menu boards, presentations. You avoid needing a much pricier 10G network infrastructure.
Okay, fast enough. And what about ongoing costs?
That's another key point they highlight. Absolutely no monthly license fee. You buy the hardware, and that's it. For businesses, that's a big factor.
Right, predictable costs. So the infrastructure sounds solid, performance seems decent. What about actually using it? The control interface. They mentioned the WolfPad tablet control.
Yeah, this seems to be where they've put a lot of thought into the user experience. It runs on iPads or Android tablets, so you're controlling this potentially huge matrix from, the palm of your hand.
And what makes that special? Lots of systems have apps now.
One feature that really stands out is the wireless real-time video preview. The tablet actually shows you a live preview of the source before you send it to the big screens.
Oh, okay, so you can see what you're about to switch. That avoids mistakes.
Exactly. Imagine trying to switch feeds in a busy sports bar during a game. Seeing it first. That's huge peace of mind.
I could see that. What else can you do from the tablet? I saw something about video walls.
Yeah, the drag and drop video walls, it sounds like you can easily create custom video wall layouts, any size, any configuration, just by dragging sources onto a representation of the screens on the tablet.
And you can rotate the video too. 90, 180, 270 degrees.
Right, which is great for digital signage, like those vertical displays you see more and more. A traditional matrix usually struggles with that kind of thing.
So creative freedom there. Does it handle the basics too, like just changing the channel?
Oh yeah, it's comprehensive. You can apparently change channels directly on major source devices, DirecTV, DISH, cable boxes, even Roku, right from the app.
And then send that channel to any of the 40 TVs. Or all of them.
Precisely. Send channel X to TV5 or send channel Y to all the TVs in Zone 1. Plus, you can turn all the connected TVs on or off simultaneously.
Wow, okay. Central power control too. And TV listings, audio control. It sounds like a complete command center on a tablet.
That seems to be the goal. Centralized, simplified control.
So let's talk brass tacks. What does this kind of setup cost, to give an example, right?
They do. They list a 1080p 8x40 HDMI over IP matrix switcher system. So 8 inputs, 40 outputs for around $8,100 today.
$8,100 for an 8x40. How does that stack up?
You really have to compare it to the cost of traditional dedicated hardware matrix switchers, especially modular ones. The chassis, the input-output cards, and the specialized cabling, that $8,100 often looks very competitive, especially when you factor in the simpler CT6 installation labor.
And this isn't some brand new company, right?
No, they mention a 24-year history in global audio and video products, so there's some established presence there.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems to be shifting away from that complex, often super expensive dedicated hardware.
Definitely. Moving towards more flexible, scalable IP-based systems that leverage standard network infrastructure. This WolfPack system seems to package that with low latency and, importantly, very user-friendly tablet control,
It really feels like the control complexity is moving from the physical rack to the software interface.
which is generally easier to manage, update, and adapt over time.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. We've talked about sports bars, corporate spaces, control rooms, the usual suspects. But where else could this kind of instant, centralized control over dozens of displays make a difference? Think maybe large classrooms, hospital information systems, maybe even dynamic art installations.
Interesting question. Anywhere you need to manage lots of visual information dynamically.
Something to chew on. Thanks for this deep dive.